So they're still blowing up these boats?
Another lethal blow against suspected drug traffickers. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says the United States has conducted another strike in the Caribbean. Hello and welcome to a second hour of Fox News Live.
They're just going in on it again.
This is the seventh and latest in a series of drone strikes aimed at boats carrying suspected drugs headed for the United States mainland. Democrats and Republicans have voiced concerns about the administration's aggressive tactics in international waters. Friday, President Trump was asked if Maduro was ready to talk.
He has offered everything. He's offered everything.
Please play the full clip.
You know why? Because he doesn't want to around with the United States.
There you go. Lucas Thomas is live in West
There you go.
Palm Beach, where the president is spending the weekend at his Mar-a-Lago golf estate before heading back to the White House this evening. Lucas?
Well, good afternoon, Rich. Combat operations continue in the Caribbean by the U.S. military. And just about an hour ago, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth posting the following recently declassified drone footage of a seventh strike against a suspected drug smuggling boat. Hegseth says the boat belonged to a Marxist group in Colombia and Venezuela, known by its Spanish acronym ELM. I believe we have the footage of the strike right here, Rich. The State Department has put this group, known as the National Liberation Army, on its terrorist list since 1997. The terrorist group operates in Colombia and Venezuela and has a history of drug trafficking. Colombia's president just posted that he says this was a fishing boat that got annihilated. Hegseth says
not fishing anymore.
The boat was on the U.S. intelligence agency's radar for the past. Drug smuggling is also using a known drug shipping route. It had drugs on board, according to Hegseth. He also said all three men on board were killed. There were no survivors.
I wonder why.
Hegseth also saying these cartels are the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, using violence, murder, and terrorism to impose their will, threaten our national security, and poison our people. The United States military will treat these organizations like the terrorists they are. They will be hunted and killed, just like Al-Qaeda. Now, earlier on Fox News Sunday, Republican Senator Shelley
I do think this is working, by the way. Yeah, you can't just kill people because you claim they were drug traffickers. Of course you can. They just did it. What do you mean you can't do it? Of course you can. If they can't do it, then how did they just do it? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, it literally just happened.
Capito said she supports these strikes in the Caribbean, but if it goes beyond that, she wants to see Congress more involved.
The president is right to be attacking in terms of the ships that are bringing these deadly substances and killing American citizens daily. And so I support that. Any extension beyond that, I think Congress needs to be a part of that.
Now, not all Republicans feel the same way, and certainly most Democrats. Here's Senator Rand Paul earlier.
You have to accuse them of something. You have to present evidence. So all of these people have been blown up without us knowing their name, without any evidence of a crime. So if our policy now is to blow up every ship we suspect or accuse of drug running, that would be a bizarre world in which 25% of the people might be innocent.
Here's why I think it's working. Is that Maduro's come to the table so much. If Trump has not been able to do this with extreme effectiveness, then why is the guy running the country immediately coming to the table, recording messages in English for him? Probably because it's working. Again, think about it like this, right? This is what I've said before. Listen less to what people say and listen more to what people do. He didn't want to die? Yeah.
After Israeli forces launched airstrikes in the Gaza Strip earlier after accusing Hamas of violating the ceasefire, President Trump told our own Maria Bartiromo he thinks Hamas will be disarmed.
Well, they promised they would. They said they would. It's down that they would. Now, they said they were gang members, et cetera, you know. But these are...
I'm surprised that he's pretty permissive with this. He's letting them fuck around a lot more than I had expected.
Very violent people. This is a very violent part of the world. Nobody's seen violence like this. If we have to, we'll disarm
The
them.
U.S.?
Well, whether it's me or the U.S. or it's, a proxy, could be Israel, with our backing, we won't have boots on the ground. There's no reason to.
Recall just a few days ago, Rich, President Trump posting on Truth Social that if Hamas continues to kill people, quote, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them. Rich?
Lucas Tomlinson live for us. Lucas, thank you. Let's bring in Michael Allen. He's the former national security official in the Bush administration. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
What in the world is going on in Venezuela?
Well, the president is ramping up activity significantly. We saw news this week of a possible covert action program from the Central Intelligence Agency, and we've also seen military...
So your argument is whatever says rules? Yeah. Yeah, whoever has the largest amount of power and the ability and willingness to exercise that power will win. Yes. This is inevitable. You might think this is unfair. You might think that it's wrong. But it is not inaccurate. Welcome to reality. Yeah, welcome to reality. Do you not feel it's dangerous? It's extremely dangerous. That's why I want my country to have the amount of force to make sure that it's dangerous for other people. That's the whole reason why we built the nuclear bomb. That's the reason why we have B-2 bombers. Is because you want to have overwhelming asymmetrical force over your opponents so they don't even think about doing anything against you because you could wipe them out. Absolutely. The lethality of it is what makes it effective. How do you explain Afghanistan, then? If you want my honest opinion, I think that they prolonged the war just to feed the military-industrial complex, and they didn't care about winning it. That's what I think. I think the entire Middle Eastern war was probably just a prolonged waste of time and money for nothing more than to keep the war machine running. 20 years to replace the Taliban with the Taliban? How else do you explain that?
Across the region. They are setting the theater with all sorts of new firepower. So it may be that the president is considering a 1-2 punch. The CIA in on the ground with air cover from the United States Air Force and others. So this is a hot area, and the president's taking it really, really seriously.
In the region, there is a very long history of CIA and regimes, and it's something that is not viewed very well down there, and a history that they remember.
I bet not.
Is this something that could rally people behind Maduro?
It's possible because of that history of the United States sponsoring all sorts of coups d'etats down there over our history. But I think in this case, the president is more motivated by the fact that he sees the drug cartels like President Bush saw Al-Qaeda after September 11th, 2001. The old criminal paradigm is not working.
I mean, it's very obvious that they're doing this, right? It's obviously a bad thing that they're taking drugs into the country. I mean, I don't think that anybody's really debating. The conversation isn't about whether they're taking or whether it's good to bomb them for doing drugs. The conversation is about whether they're taking drugs or not, right? Because people are saying, oh, it's innocent people, it's fishermen. I mean, I don't know how many innocent people have a submarine, right? It seems kind of unlikely. But like that's real, it's a fishing boat or something like that. Very few people are saying that, oh, these people that are trying to take drugs into the United States, we shouldn't blow up the boat. Like, I'm sorry, but like, yes, if they think there's somebody bringing drugs into the country on a boat and there's military intelligence for it, I would much rather them blow up the boat than try to intercept it, arrest these people, and spend millions of dollars doing that. And I'm sure it costs money to blow it up too, but being able to identify it is probably the majority of it to begin with. Like, yeah, like what are we doing even letting this happen to begin with? The drugs are cool, just do different ones.
To get more aggressive with intelligence and special operations type strikes. And so I think he's trying to introduce
Shouldn't the evidence of drugs be public? No. What? No. Do you think that every single military every single military incursion should have completely public information? Of course not, because if they did, then it would reveal the, like, so basically, and this is the, I think actually a lot of people don't understand this. And it's okay that they don't understand this because it's a confusing thing and people might not think this way. If you, like, it's ridiculous, but I'm going to make a comparison. Do you know why Blizzard doesn't ban bots all the time, every single day? It's because if you're able to do that, you can A/B test and figure out what is actually triggering them being able to see what you're doing. So whenever the amount of times that you show your hand or you reveal anything that you've even done, right? Like, here's a good example of it, right? It's going to be very hard for Israel to have another big attack happen inside of Israel after they've revealed their hand, that their intelligence is so... It's so good, it's so, like just massive, that they can find out where a guy that's trying to hide from them, they can find out the exact apartment building that he's living in and then blow up that specific apartment building. So what that means is that they've revealed so much of their hand of how good they are at this, that let's say there's a new terrorist attack that happens in Israel, like October 7th, people will instantly think that Israel let it happen. And I think that the same thing would happen here in the United States. Like, if we had a 9/11 style attack, people would probably reflexively assume that the United States let it happen because of how advanced and how like just completely fucking massive our intelligence is. The truth prevails. Well, we did. Well, what I'm saying is that, like, people think they let October 7th happen also. But what my point is that because they've revealed their hand with how good their intelligence is, now people can know, obviously, like, okay, well, and I'm sure that the Iranians and the other people that are trying to work against Israel reverse engineered what the people that Israel killed did in order to not do those specific things. Like, I bet they're not using pagers anymore, for example. So every single time that you reveal information of how you collect data or how you get any sort of conclusion, you will also, to a degree, allow people to reverse engineer the process in which that data was collected. And by allowing people to reverse engineer the process in which it was collected, you then open yourself up to making them aware of it and then able to avoid it. Do you see kind of like, and I understand like that's a bit of a long explanation, but does that make sense a little bit more now? So by logic, where's the accountability? Well, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be accountability by this, but what I'm saying is that it shouldn't be made public. Somebody asked, should it be made public? I'm responding to that question. You're asking a different question. So spies shouldn't have public body cams? I mean, if I was a spy, I wouldn't have a public body cam. I mean, maybe a private one, someone that people couldn't see, but yeah, of course you wouldn't be walking around if you were like, what?
Into the world that this is a new way of business and we mean it.
Do you think these strikes have been successful, or is it too early to tell?
It's probably too early to tell. I think it is a great deterrent effect that comes out of striking these 7.
I think that they've obviously been effective because you have the prime minister coming to the table. You argued against yourself a bit. Everyone reveals their tactics when they pull off their plans, but yeah, you don't want to show what you don't need to. Exactly. Well, the person was asking the person was asking the question specifically, why is it that they don't show the proof for how they know that this is narcotics? Because if they showed the proof, the people that are doing it would be able to reverse engineer the proof. And with enough examples and enough points on a graph, you can draw a line to how they're able to figure out what you're doing.
Boats, they'll be less inclined to do that again, but they're very resourceful. We saw news that they use a submarine.
It's common sense.
They have overland. They probably have different types of air cargo going northward too. The cartels are not going to give up. They know what they're doing.
It's their job.
They're great at logistics and delivery, if you will. So we'll have to stay really on top of this to have a lasting effect.
What do you think changed between the first Trump administration and the second? There was some reporting
he just
that
doesn't
perhaps
give a fuck now.
The president backing
That's
the opposition in Venezuela. Maduro was still there. that maybe that was a bridge too far. But here it seems like his focus again is on Venezuela.
Yeah, in the first term, I think ultimately we were all disappointed that the embrace of the opposition leader Juan Guaido didn't lead to anything tangible inside of the country. I think the president's probably learned from that lesson and says, I need to get more kinetic. I got to be more forceful if I want to affect a better and broader change across Latin America.
Now, we went down there in 2018 and saw the people coming over from Venezuela on the bridge into Colombia for food, for medicine, for water. I mean, the humanitarian conditions in Venezuela are awful, and you can largely trace it back to the guy who's in charge there. How much can things change if there is a new government there?
I think significantly. It's absolutely abysmal down there. People worry about human rights, but this is basic.
Well, if you have political refugees in a country, it's obviously the country is a shithole, right? It's pretty simple. Like, I mean, any country that has a bunch of political refugees, like, you've got at least a problem.
Human dignity, ways these people are able to live. And when they can't advance, then that's the type of guys that will eventually join up with drug cartels out of desperation. So I think over time, we've got to just fix this cancer in the hemisphere. And I think over time, it'll be a broader salutary effect for the United States.
Yeah, we didn't like Chavez. We got Maduro.
I'm actually really curious how much of the cartel drug business is their GDP. Like, how much of their money that's in that economy and in that culture is in one way or another driven by American drug sales. Because if a lot of it is, and we shut that down, I think that's going to have a lot of other effects on it. It's got to be over 30% too. I don't know. The AI doesn't know either, realistically, right? Because you're looking at, like, you know, the third and fourth, like, transaction.
Now, who could possibly be next? There's always the danger that what comes next isn't better, right?
Sometimes it's worse. And so I think we've got to be really, really careful. By the way, that might be why they have the CIA in there a little bit. We want to be able to work with some networks inside the country, figure out whom the future might be, maybe support them financially, maybe support them with some weapons. And so that we don't quite know what's going on, but that's part of CIA's playbook.
The president says that Maduro's offered everything. Does that mean that there's no deal to be had here between the U.S. and this current regime there?
It sure sounds like it. I doubt that he's offered what...
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make a deal. I think they're going to blow the guy up. That's what I think is probably going to happen.
President really wants which is for him to step down or to totally get out of the
he either steps down or they blow up his house. That's what's probably going to happen. I just, like, knowing Trump, that's probably going to be it.
Trade. I'm sure he's insisting, I'll get out of the drug trade, but I don't think Maduro's trustworthy.
Michael Allen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, give me a second. Sorry about that. And no boots on the ground, only missiles. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much probably what's going to happen, right? I mean, yeah. He has a $50 million bounty on his head. I mean, I don't think that really makes... I mean, is that alive or dead? I mean, I have no idea. I have to look at it. I'll be honest, Mexico, before we gave them democracy, it was completely run by cartels, and it was probably more than 30%. Well, like, what I'm saying is that if Trump actually shuts down the cartel drug trade over there, I think it's going to have a massive negative effect on their economy. And I'm worried that it will destabilize it in a way that will make things even worse. And I'm not saying, like, oh, yeah, it's a good thing. Let's keep having drugs come into the country. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that we're certainly in an interesting situation. You know, Venezuela has tons of oil, too. Yeah, well, I hope so, right? I mean, I would definitely hope so. And most people live there in misery. Fuck no, it won't be worse. Venezuela ran a crypto called the Petro for insider trade. Who invested? Where'd the money go? Yeah, that's a good question, right? Let me tell you, there are some areas in Colombia that are forgotten by the government. They use the coke to make money, and so they pay with grams instead of money. Holy shit. Yeah, I didn't even know it was that bad over there. I had no fucking idea, but it does seem like it's been very problematic. I'll certainly say that for sure. Do you think legalizing marijuana hurt the cartels enough to make a difference? So legalizing weed hurt cartels? It probably did to an extent, but I don't really think so to a big extent, because, like, you have to understand that, like, the amount of money that you make on selling weed it's like kind of like selling like milk or like eggs at a store, where like maybe you're making like 3 or 5 cents on a sale, but the real money makers are, you know, selling you know, like let's say a TV or selling a t-shirt or something like that, right? And so what happens is that, like, yes, you're selling weed at scale and you're making a lot of it, but the actual amount of money, if you're not selling as much weed, you also don't need the entire industry that supports it either. So like selling weed and doing that takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. Also, like the amount of it, and it's very easy to think about it like this, right? So if you, how much is a key of like of coke? Like probably, if I had to guess now, $140,000, right? If you're buying it secondhand to sell to somebody else, right? It's about 140,000. 24,000? It's not 24,000. It's not 24,000. What are you, retarded? There's no way. Yeah, I would say probably 100. How do I know? I had a friend, and like back whenever he was doing it, it was like 80, and I just assumed it was a lot more now, like based off of inflation. So like that was like about my guess, right? 140 or so. Price has gone down. If you gram it, it's 120. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? It's like you're gonna make 120 off of it. And so I had a friend. No, I've never sold drugs in my life, and so and you think about how small is a kilogram, right? How small is that? Google says 70K. Really? Well, I guess maybe it hasn't gone up as much as I thought, because he was getting 80 back then, right? But that was it's more complicated. But 24 to 78K. Yeah, I mean, okay, I guess I overshot the inflation for it. So let me get this straight. So inflation has gone up for everything. Oh God. Okay, that's crazy. That's really, really fucking funny. That was in like 2017, 2016 too. And so it's just insane. And so I was thinking of street value. Yeah. And so anyway, how much money is that versus selling weed, right? And so you think about the value that it creates and the amount of money that you're able to make on it. And what the difference is that whenever you're able to make that huge amount of money on such a little amount of product, you're able to move a lot more of it. It's easier to move. There's less risk with moving it. Like whenever you're moving, like let's say a lot of marijuana, obviously you have a higher risk because you need a bigger boat, you need a bigger, car. It's harder to, like, for example, if you, like, let's say you're trying to fill a car up with weed, right? How much can you fill a car up with weed until you just have it sitting in the back seat, right? You can probably do that. Like think about the amount of money that you can make, right? Then replace that with cocaine or replace that with fentanyl or something else, right? I don't know how much any of those other drugs cost. I have no idea. I don't know anybody that deals with that at all. But the point is that like it's like an astronomically, it's like a 20x or a 50x multiplier. So I bet probably cutting down on weed probably just it caused them to change their business model and to change the way that they were selling drugs. It definitely probably reduced the amount of money that they were making, but probably not by as much as you might imagine. That's what my guess is. Yeah, I could be wrong, but like that's what I'm guessing. And bingo, yeah, of course, right? And so more money per pound, square inch, yeah, exactly. And much rather than crack. Well, I don't know about crack. I mean, I know kind of like I actually I don't really know a lot about that at all. Like my dad told me a little bit about it, but that was about it. So I have no idea other than that. It's more like a marginal loss. Everyone's against Maduro. A lot of people don't like Maduro over there. Yes, I think that's definitely true. Obviously, it's not everybody, right? I'm sure some people like Maduro, but for the most part, it seems like they don't.